It's Wednesday, November 11th, and it's time for my news radar. Another day, another crazy phone patent. This one again from Samsung. As you know, I've talked on this channel many times about weird form factors of phones. We've talked about the LG Wing. We've talked about the Surface Duo at length. I'm a big fan of phones that aren't just rectangular slabs. This is a good phone, it's fine, but it's boring. So when I see another patent from Samsung doing something really weird, as we've already covered a couple of Samsung patents, I get a little bit excited. It makes me a little bit happy. What we're looking at here is another patent by Samsung for a smartphone with a surround display. So this display will actually wrap onto the edges and will actually be visible on the bottom. So you've essentially got just one curved thing, just a screen that wraps all the way around. We've got some renders here from Let's Go Digital. This is, look, this is the front, this is the back. One thing you're going to notice here is the camera array up there. So this thing will actually slide. If you remember, the Mi Mix 3 did something very similar. Magnetically, you would hold it and you could slide it upwards, revealing that camera underneath. Well, this looks to do something rather similar to that. But then, of course, the big selling feature would be the screen that just wraps all the way around. They're going to curve it all the way around to the edge and all the way around to the back side. Why would you want a screen on the back side of your phone? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what you would use that for. Maybe since there's only cameras facing the front, you pop the thing out, the camera is facing at you. You could flip it around. Now the back screen is now going to show you your viewfinder to point out to the world. What problem does that solve? I don't know. Obviously, this thing would not have any sort of water or dust resistance at all. It can be incredibly fragile. I love this image here because this would be, I presume, looking like this way at the phone, and you just have screen all the way around it. Let's Go Digital has probably the best rendering of any. They do such a great job with it. I mean, on this image here, they've literally done the work to add fingerprint smudges to the glass. This is just absolutely incredible. You can see from their render, which they're trying to use the patents to kind of make an accurate look of what this thing would look like. You can see that the screen, wraps around this way, but obviously no screen on the bottom, USB-C and a speaker port down there. This is a render. We don't know for sure what this thing might look like, but this is probably pretty close to what this thing might look like if it ever gets made. Flip this thing around to the back, and it's just all screen. Now, it is up to you to decide what actually this would be useful for. I'm struggling to think of many scenarios where I would want something like this. I mean, look, it's gorgeous. If this thing exists and it's real and they make it, holy crap, it looks beautiful. But I mean, look, a case would be impossible. What kind of, maybe a screen protector that's real foldy, but I mean, it would have to stop at the seam because it has to be able to slide. So screen protectors might be difficult, although probably doable. Another thing you have to consider is that there's no buttons on this thing. So I think Huawei had a phone where the screen wrapped really far around, and they were using just a capacitive area. It just understood that like a software button, you would just touch the screen there. How is that going to work? You can have haptics to really let us feel when we're on that button. At the end of the day, really, really interesting design. Probably utterly useless. It's probably going to cost a lot of money. What do you guys think of this? What can you imagine this being used for? So on the gaming side of things, and maybe the more exciting news for some of you guys out there, EA Play is now officially a part of Xbox Game Pass if you are on console or Android. Unfortunately, PC is still coming December 15th. So people like me that might be, wanting to play some of these EA Play games on my PC, not a thing yet, but you can still stream them to your phone or your console. You're accessible there. Well, what is EA Play? What does this mean? Basically, there's a whole bunch of games that EA has in a service that they usually charge $4.99 a month for. And when you have this service, you have access to a whole slew of games. Well, now as part of your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription, which is $15 per month, you get all the Xbox Game Pass games plus a whole slew of games from EA. Here's a pretty handy little tweet here that might show you some of the things that we're talking about. Obviously, we have UFC games. EA has Battlefield, Need for Speed. Now, when we're talking about sports games like Madden, you're going to get the older games. So last year's title, Madden 20 is there, FIFA 20 is there. For the current year games, Madden 21, etc., you're going to have a 10-hour trial to see if you're going to like this game or not. Now, obviously, for a lot of these sports games like Madden, maybe Madden 20 is fine. Maybe you just download an update to the roster and you roll on. UFC games, not a whole lot changes year to year in these sorts of games. But at any rate, having access to these games in Game Pass as part of the subscription service that you probably are already paying for, at least a lot of you are, is a really great added value to that sort of thing. Unfortunately, like I said, PC is not here yet. We got to wait till December 15th to get access to this on PC. Sticking with the Game Pass side of things, we've got a new benefit here for Xbox Game Pass. They tweeted about this a couple days ago. I retweeted it and was wondering what they were talking about. Game Pass's account tweeted a picture of The Mandalorian and no one knew what they meant. Well, now we do in fact know what they meant, because now we know that Disney Plus is going to be a 30-day trial included with Game Pass Ultimate. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, there's a 30-day trial for Disney Plus. And honestly, Disney Plus has been pretty solid for me. I'm a big Nat Geo guy. A lot of good documentaries and things like that on there, more than I expected. You have access to all of the Marvel movies. Well, most of the Marvel movies, still waiting for the latest Spider-Man movie and things like that to hit. But The Mandalorian is there, which is a great show if you haven't checked it out. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, not only are you going to have all these EA games, you're also going to have a month to try out Disney Plus. And obviously, the fact that EA Play is now live on Game Pass for console users means that the console has launched, with the PlayStation 5 launching on tomorrow. Super exciting times for console gamers out there who are looking to jump into a brand new system. The reviews are already live for both systems, and generally speaking, PS5 and Xbox Series X and Series S are all getting pretty favorable reviews. I think the general consensus is the power is there, the loading times are great, the features that we've talked about are great. Automatic HDR for backwards compatibility on the Xbox is really solid, but the games just aren't here yet. This feels like a system that's launching now with an eye on backwards compatibility and cross-platform sorts of things. Cross-platform meaning PS4 and PS5 or Xbox One and Xbox Series. Obviously, Spider-Man Miles Morales on both, Assassin's Creed Valhalla on both. So it's more than ever, these new consoles are platforms. Back in the day, you'd buy the console and a whole bunch of games would come out with them. Well, now we're getting more and more into a world where the games exist and the console is your entry point into the platform, into the ability to play those games. I think that's becoming more and more true. At any rate, new hardware cycle is always exciting. It'll be super interesting to see how this pushes the industry forward, how the limitations have been taken up several notches higher, and how game development continues to take advantage of that hardware. Overall, kind of a light news day today. Not a whole lot going on in the last couple of days. It's pretty much all PlayStation and Xbox. People excited about getting their consoles, reviews hitting. So hopefully there'll be more news to talk about coming up on Friday. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.